Part 2. Hey guys, what if Emiya crossed over to the Highschool DxD verse? Part 2. Chapter 3. The sun rose, signaling the start of a new day. Its light seeped through the curtain in a certain room in Highschool household. The occupant of the room woke up, her sleep disturbed by the intense light from the sun. Slowly, Miyu rubbed her sleepy eyes to try and shake the sleepiness away. Big brother? Please wake up, Miyu-sama. Miyu blinked before she realized where she was. She was inside the Highschool household in another world. There was no big brother for her anymore because she was here and her big brother was in another world? Universe? It didn't matter because the fact was she couldn't see him. The door suddenly burst open with a loud bang. Good morning, Miyu. Still wearing his pajamas, the one who found her yesterday, Issy greeted her with a big smile and his morning enthusiasm. Good morning, Issy-sama. Issy blinked. Oh, good morning to you too, Sapphire. And then the reality of what happened last night came crashing down on both children. Last night, the floating magical girl Sapphire wanted Miyu to become her partner. Miyu was going to be an actual magical girl. While Miyu accepted it for a different reason, which was, she had heard about class cards before in her world. Sapphire's purpose was to collect the class cards, so she just accepted it because logically speaking, it helped both of them. Issy was excited for a different reason. He was just a normal boy, so of course, having his world turned upside down by actually having something confirm the existence of magic would make him excited. Not to mention his new friend Miyu would be the one using it. He couldn't wait to see Miyu use her newfound powers. Why are you barging into my room the first thing in the morning? Miyu asked Issy. Mom wanted me to tell you that she's going to take you shopping with her. The good thing is while you shop, I will be at school, so no need for me to wait long for you girls finish choosing your outfits. Miyu looked at him in confusion. I never take long choosing my outfit, mostly because what she wore was chosen by her brother and she liked whatever her brother brought for her, so she just accepted it. Issy made an expression full of pity on his face when he looked at Miyu. Trust me, you're going to be so bored by my mother. Miyu-sama, my previous master always took a long time in choosing her outfit, so I suggest you consider Issy-sama's opinion. Really? Miyu asked because she was clueless about the normal world. Her world before she was taken away by them. It was just the Emiya compound, and the books her brother provided for her to read. Yes! Finally, someone who agrees with me about my mother. Wahoo! You're cool, Sapphire. Issy was just happy that someone agreed with him that women always took a long time to shop. Also, Mom says that you're going to start school tomorrow. I hope you're going to be in my class. It would be so awesome. Miyu nodded. I'm looking forward to it. Eyes, have you woken Miyu-chan up? Mrs. Highschool's voice echoed through the house, and Issy answered back with a shout. Yeah, Mom, I have. Come down for breakfast, you two, before it gets cold. Issy bolted towards the dining room, leaving Miyu still in her bed, looking at the floating Sapphire. Sapphire also looked at her, probably thinking the same thing as her. I can hide behind your hair, Miyu-sama. Okay, then Sapphire, let's do that. Miyu opened her drawer and brought out the same dress that she wore coming to this world. She had nothing else to wear and Mrs. Highschool hadn't brought her any clothes. She opened her pajama bottom and placed it on the bed. After that, she unbuttoned her pajama top and placed it beside the bottom on the bed. Oh, Miyu, I forgot to bring you two. Suddenly, Issy barged in and got a full view of Miyu only in her underwear. Wow, I'm sorry, Miyu. Though, nice body. Issy gave a thumbs up as he closed his eyes and covered it with his other hand, smiling. Miyu's face was red. This was the first time since her brother that another boy had seen her body. She hurriedly went to her bed and covered herself from head to toe under the blanket. Miyu, you okay? It's embarrassing, eyes, she quietly mumbled from underneath the blanket. I'm truly sorry, Miyu. Please forgive me, Miyu. Will you forgive me? Issy kneeled beside Miyu's bed asking for forgiveness. I forgive you, eyes. Now can you exit the room to let me change my clothes? Miyu replied, still embarrassed. Issy nodded and left Miyu's room. From behind her, Sapphire floated when Miyu took her black dress and began putting it on. "I'm sorry, Miyu-sama. I forgot to say that the door was unlocked." "It's okay, Sapphire. I was just embarrassed," said Miyu with a huge blush on her face. After she finished changing, Miyu went down to the dining room. There, Mrs. and Mr. Hudu had already sat down on the table, with Eyes beside his mother. There was an empty seat beside Eyes, so she took that place and came face to face with a warm, full breakfast. "Is there something wrong, Miyu?" Mrs. Hudu asked her. Miyu shook her head in denial. "There is nothing wrong, Mrs. Hudu. It was just that usually, she was the one making breakfast when she asked her big brother to help her." She frowned when once again, her mind came back to her big brother. "I wonder how he's doing." Miyu wonder. Now Miyu, how many times have I said to call me mother?" Miyu didn't reply. Since last night, Mrs. Hudu insisted to call her mother. It wasn't like Miyu didn't want to, but it felt weird to immediately call her mother like that. "Dear, didn't you see how uncomfortable you make Miyu? Look." She scrunched her eyebrow like that. Mr. Hudu interjected. "Safe," Miyu thought. "I remember last night you also scrunched your eyebrow, Miyu. That's a cute quirk." Eyes spoke out loud with food still in his mouth. "Eat first, young man. Talking while eating is impolite to your conversation partner." "Yes, Mom." Issy ate his breakfast silently. Meanwhile, Miyu's face was still red from Eyes' unexpected compliment. After that, they ate breakfast happily from Issy and Miyu's antics. Issy was surprisingly good at making Miyu speak and come out of her shell. His parents guessed that it was just how kids relate to other kids better than adults. After that, Issy went to school while Miyu accompanied Mother to the department store to buy her daily necessities. She was brought to a clothes store where she tried many kinds of clothes to look for one that fit her best. It took Mother about 2 hours and around 20 outfits before she decided which ones to buy. Issy and Sapphire were right. It was tiring. She would ask for their forgiveness later. Her big brother really was the best because he didn't need any time to decide which outfit fitted her. Anyway, after that, Mother brought her to the registry office to register her as a member of Hudu family. At this, Miyu pleaded to keep her family name Emiya with her. While Mother said it was okay, the registry officer had to pull a lot of strings to allow her that. She thanked the officer heartfully because she was allowed to keep her old family name. When the afternoon almost ended, the newly registered family member was brought to the school where Issy attended. She was to be enrolled there for education. Since she got along great with Issy, Mother thought it was best for her to be enrolled in the same class as Issy. She accepted it without much fuss because she was comfortable with Issy. They went back home with Issy because the school day ended at the same time they finished with the administration office. "Miyu, so what were you doing with Mom? Tell me, tell me." Issy excitedly raised his voice as they were walking back home. Miyu nodded. "We bought clothes. Officially register me as part of the family. Also, I enrolled in your school. I start tomorrow." "That's great. I can't wait to show you the school and my friends." Not long after, they arrived at their home. Mother cooked dinner and they ate together like a family. No, Miyu shook those thoughts away. They are a family now. But of course, the day could not end on a better note. Just as she was about to turn in for the night, Sapphire, who for the entire day hid behind her hair, suddenly launched herself off of her and floated. "Miyu-sama, I detect a class card nearby." Miyu instantly hid Sapphire behind her and sneaked over to Issy's room. Eyes! Sapphire said there's a class card nearby." "Aw, really? I was about to go sleep." "Sapphire, you cruel magical wand." Issy was about to go to bed when Miyu sneaked into his room. The correct term is mystic code, Issy-sama. "I don't want a correction. I want sleep." Sigh, Issy let out a deep breath. "I guess I'll tag along. That's what I promised you anyways, right Miyu?" "Right, thank you, Eyes. I'm so happy." Miyu was relieved to have him tag along with her. "Well, come on, change out of your pajamas. I'll show you how to sneak away from Mom and Dad without notice. They never keep the lock on the door. It's easy to sneak past them and go out." "They're lucky I'm such a good kid," Issy said with a smug smile. Miyu nodded. This would be the first time for her, and also for Issy, but they wouldn't back down. Not when they were the only ones who could collect the class cards. And that is the end of Chapter 3. Chapter 4. Hey, Sapphire, we're going to collect the class card, right? Issy asked the floating magical Wa mystic code. He corrected himself. Yes, Issy-sama, replied Sapphire. Then why are we here at our school this late at night? We even jumped through the fence like a burglar. Nobody told me that being a magical girl sidekick was like a thief. Calm down, Eyes. I'm sure Sapphire can explain, Miyu interjected to Issy, who was kneeling on the ground feeling discouraged. That is correct. The card is located here. However, it is not located on our plane of reality. Rather, it is located in a parallel dimension which mirrors our world. Through the power of Kaleidoscope, I can access this mirror world where the class card is located and get us there safely. I'm sorry, what? What does a kaleidoscope have to do with anything? Sapphire seemed like she wanted to say something, then remembered that Issy was still a kid who had no knowledge of magecraft despite being a floating ring with stars in the middle. Don't worry, Sapphire, Miyu tried to reassure the mystic code. I only missed some context from your explanation. Thank you, Miyu-sama. Sapphire tried bowing to her. It was a strange sight. Let's transform, Miyu-sama. Wait. Issy suddenly shouted. Please wait until I close my eyes. Aren't magical girls always getting naked when they're transforming? He then closed his eyes using his hand. Miyu just stopped and stared at Sapphire. Don't worry, Miyu-sama, I can shield your naked body from view. That's not the problem here, Sapphire, said Miyu, blushing bright red. In the end, Miyu just sighed and accepted the fact that a magical girl had to go naked when they transformed. Issy closed his eyes, so he didn't see how Miyu transformed. He would be lying if he said there was no temptation to peek. But Miyu was his sister now. He had to protect her dignity also. Plus, what kind of big brother would peek at their younger sister? Although, he didn't exactly know when was Miyu's birthday, so he just kinda assumed that Miyu was younger than him. It's okay to look now, Eyes, said Miyu. When Issy opened his eyes, he saw Miyu in a purple outfit similar to a school swimsuit with the addition of thigh-high stocking and a white cape that made her look like a fairy. He usually saw her with her hair let down but was now tied into low twin tails by white ribbons. Cute was the first word Issy let out the moment he saw Miyu. Miyu reflexively covered her face in embarrassment. Don't say things so bluntly like that, Eyes. Anyways, now what, Sapphire? Right, now please hold on tight to Miyu-sama, Issy-sama. I will now begin the dimensional transport. Issy did as he was told, and suddenly there were strange lights circling on the ground below him. Adding imaginary numerical axis to the fifth instrumental variable. Preparing inversion. Confirming the existence of multiple spaces. Fixation of center coordinates complete. To Issy's eyes, it was as if the world suddenly blurred. Forming reflective path with a radius of 2 meters. Performing partial inversion of mirror world connections. When he looked at the strange lights around the group, there were petal-like lights. Forming a circle and then a blue 6-pointed star. And then suddenly the world looked normal again to Issy. Or as normal as it should be, because Issy felt something different in the air. This is, Miyu let out as she looked around the place. There were no differences. It was as if the mirror world was the same as the real world. The mirror world, the place where the class cards are located. This is the reflection of the world we lived seen through the kaleidoscope, Sapphire explained. Coordinates stable, dimensional transfer complete. Ooh, Issy let out his excitement. You mean we don't need to worry about the damage? How convenient. Your Grand Master is awesome. That's an accurate summary despite blowing over what I explained. You are oddly talented at getting across the meaning without hearing what I say, Issy-sama. What are you talking about, Sapphire? A parallel dimension where the characters can wreck things without worrying about collateral damage. It's a staple in magical girl shows, you know? Issy scratched behind his head with a grin. Anyway, Miyu-sama, Issy-sama, it's time to prepare yourselves, said Sapphire. Issy focused himself and so did Miyu. There was a black miasma floating around them. Sapphire, these black fogs. Watch out for it, Miyu-sama. The class card is materializing. From inside the miasma, something came out. It was a rather adult female form. Her breast was big. It bounced up and down as the figure of a woman was surrounded by the black miasma. Damn it, eyes, focus. Issy slapped his own cheek as he observed the figure one more time. You can look at her big boobs later. Miyu looked at Issy with a surprised look on her face. Miyu-sama, what's wrong? Asked Sapphire. I find it disturbing that Eyes isn't afraid to look at that thing's breasts. Who knows if it's even human? Eyes. Issy gasped in terror. You're absolutely right, Miyu. Thanks. Now I can really focus. The thing that formed from the miasma suddenly leaped towards them. Issy frantically dodged the figure while Miyu sharply jumped to avoid it. What the hell is that, Sapphire? And don't say it's the enemy that we need to defeat. I know that already. I'm sorry, Issy-sama, but finding smaller words that can describe them so that you can understand it is hard, but please let me try. Basically, they are the spirits of heroes of legend, crystallized within the class card. However, something is wrong with the wild class card, and the spirits are corrupted. So you're telling me that she's a hero of legend? So how the hell can we win against them? Do not worry, Issy-sama. The corrupted versions are weaker than their original forms. A weak hero of legend is still a hero of legend. You stupid mystic code. Finally you used the correct term, Issy-sama. That's what you picked up. As Issy and Sapphire bantered, Miyu was dodging the attacks coming from the blackened heroic spirit. She dodged left and right, all to avoid the chain and dagger combination that the heroic spirit used as a weapon. Who exactly is she? Miyu asked Sapphire. Do you know? If she is a hero of legend, then as long as we know the identity, then we can find their weaknesses. Also, Sapphire, what attacks can I use now that I am transformed? Unfortunately, I don't know anything about her. There might be a chance that we won't know anything about her, so prepare yourself, Miyu-sama. As for what you can do, it is anything you can imagine. Miyu stopped to think what Sapphire had just said. Imagination. Miyu, move. Issy's voice got through to her and she forced herself to abandon her thought and follow her survival instinct. She dodged another swing of the heroic spirit chain. Miyu quickly imagined a projectile attack. She swung Sapphire in the direction of the heroic spirit. Here goes, Sapphire. 3 blue magical orbs flew at high speeds towards the heroic spirit. Miyu hoped it was enough, but she knew realistically that it wouldn't be. So she used the time she gained to move towards Issy. Eyes, I need help. Don't worry, Miyu. I heard what Sapphire said. Imagination, right? Issy cockily pointed towards his brain. As long as you have me, you won't run out of ideas. I've watched so many magical girls anime that I'm probably an expert. Thank you, Eyes. Although you definitely can reduce your anime time. Like hell I will. Miyu, are you working with Mom? She also forced me to stop watching too much anime. Their talk was interrupted as the heroic spirit made another leap towards them. Use a shield to repel. Miyu imagined a big hexagonal shield which had the power to return the forces it was given. Newton's third law of motion stated that for every action, there will be an equal reaction in the opposite direction. She imagined that the shield was big enough to cover both her and Issy. Sapphire in her stick form lit up with blue lights as the big hexagonal shield that she imagined appeared in front of them just as the heroic spirit made her move. She was halted and sent back with equal force by the shield. Good job, Miyu-sama, Issy-sama. Issy gave her a thumbs up. Can I name the move Repel Shield? Negative, Issy-sama. As the Kaleidostic Sapphire, I would prefer if the move name starts with Kaleido. Issy sighed. Fine, fine. The move name is Kaleidoshield Repel. Is that acceptable? Affirmative, Issy-sama. Right, let's go to the offensive now. Miyu nodded. Let's go. A quick question. Do you prefer close quarter or long range? Issy asked Miyu. I have no preference. But why? To adjust the plan, of course. From what I observe, the enemy can do short range, mid-range, and long range quite easily. If you prefer one of them, I can try to adjust the plan to make you comfortable. Thanks for the consideration, but I'm ready to do anything, Miyu replied with determination. Issy didn't know what made Miyu this determined that she would risk herself, but if Issy wasn't there, when Miyu needed him, he would hate himself. That was why he was here. Miyu needing his help was not something he predicted, but now that she needed it, he would give it his all. The heroic spirit already stood up. If she wasn't blindfolded, Issy was sure that she would be glaring at them. Alright, Miyu, first up, don't think too much, just imagine what's coming from my mouth. The instant when you imagined longer than you should, it might prove fatal. Yes, Miyu replied shortly. Now, enhance your strength, meet her attack head-on, Issy shouted as the heroic spirit leaped at them once more. Said a confused Miyu. Then Miyu quickly remembered Issy's advice. She imagined the magical energy flowing through her muscles and powering herself up. She braced herself for the incoming collision. Just as the impact between the heroic spirit and her collision threw her several meters behind, she heard Issy shout, "Kaleidoshield repel above your head." In an instant, the hexagonal magical shield sent the chain dagger upwards, fighting gravity. But before the weapon reached its peak, it was pulled by the heroic spirit. Good. Now imagine a continuous magical beam. Attack her, instructed Issy. Miyu imagined a stream of blue magical energy originated from the tip of Sapphire and directed it towards the heroic spirit. The heroic spirit had no other choice but to parry it. Keep it up, Issy shouted to Miyu. She let Sapphire pour more magical energy into the stream. Now, Miyu, jump towards her. Prepare a sword, shouted Issy. Miyu stopped the beam and manipulate the magical energy flow to her muscles, specifically her legs. With a kick, she jumped straight towards the heroic spirit who was still disoriented after parrying. A sword, huh? Miyu swung Sapphire, which now had a bladed tip made of magical energy on its top, and slashed at the heroic spirit. The heroic spirit let out a shriek of pain at the wound inflicted by Miyu. Yes, Issy shouted when he saw Miyu successfully attack the heroic spirit. But it wouldn't end just like that. The heroic spirit stood up after she fell to the ground in pain. Despite her wounds, she held out. Suddenly, the single gem-like thing on her blindfold lit up. As it lit up and formed a magical circle, the black miasma from before came back. What the hell is that? Issy shouted. This is bad. She is about to use her noble phantasm. Miyu-sama, Issy-sama, please get away from here. What the hell is that fancy schmancy noble what's-it-name? Issy looked around the schoolyard where they clashed. Was there something that he could use to cancel out the noble phantasm? Think, Issy, think. Miyu, shake her off. No, Miyu-sama, run away. Miyu was internally torn. Sapphire knew best about the magic terminology and knowledge, so it was definitely not wrong to follow her instruction. However, Issy was also correct. Miyu reversed her grip of Sapphire and formed the bladed tip on it. Then, Miyu enhanced her body and threw Sapphire towards the glowing magic circle which was still forming. It got through the magic circle without destroying it, but Sapphire managed to disrupt the heroic spirit's concentration that the glow on the magic circle faded a little. Miyu's eyes suddenly saw Issy running towards the heroic spirit. Eyes! Issy didn't hear her. He kept running and slammed his body into the heroic spirit. The impact wasn't great. Issy didn't move her even a single centimeter. The heroic spirit summoned her chain dagger and tried to stab Issy with it. No, Miyu jumped towards the heroic spirit who swung down her hand to stab Issy. But Issy wasn't stabbed. Thanks for the save, Sapphire. No problem, Issy-sama. But I have to say that what you did is reckless and should not be repeated ever again. Issy then gave Sapphire back to Miyu. Throwing Sapphire is a good idea, but remember to get it back before the enemy takes it. Miyu, who was almost brought to tears, just nodded and punched Issy on his shoulder. That's for making me worry, you idiot. Ouch! Miyu, stop your body enhancement first. Actually, Issei-sama, the technique's name is reinforcement. I don't care, just don't do it again, Issei said, holding his shoulder. Their conversation was once again interrupted by the heroic spirit. This time, the heroic spirit displayed an inhuman speed and agility to move herself closer to them. Miyu, scatter, Issei shouted and tried to move, but found himself restrained. What the hell? Eyes! Issei's body was wrapped in the chain of the heroic spirit as she was coming to stab him with the dagger. Kaleidoshield repel. Miyu cast a shield in front of Issei. The blue hexagonal shield stopped the dagger from harming Issei, but it didn't resolve the problem that he was restrained and thus an easy target. Miyu couldn't just defend him like this, Issei thought. Miyu could go offensive, but that would mean abandoning Issei to the mercy of the heroic spirit. He wasn't sure Miyu could do that. He didn't know what happened with Miyu before he met her, but he didn't need to know that to assume that it wasn't anything good. Maybe that was the reason behind Miyu's insistence on collecting the class cards or not. Regardless of her motives, Miyu was a good person, and there was no way Miyu would abandon him. When he recklessly charged at the heroic spirit earlier, Miyu without hesitation jumped towards him. Just then, a reckless idea dawned on Issei's mind. Hey, you good-for-nothing hero of legend. What kind of hero are you? You can't even beat to kids. Hard to believe you're a hero. I mean, come on. Aren't heroes the strongest out of everyone? Said Issei. While the heroic spirit had not shown any sign of intellect, that didn't mean the heroic spirit couldn't. The strategy she employed to try to get past Miyu and her targeting him suggested that she could. If she could think, then all her senses were working, except maybe the eyes. So Issei bet on that assumption and tried to taunt the heroic spirit. Eyes, what are you doing? Shouted Miyu with a concerned look on her face. His plan worked. The heroic spirit was angry at him, and it showed as his body was pulled towards the heroic spirit who was ready to skewer him with her dagger. He almost greeted death were it not for Miyu and Sapphire providing a distraction by shooting a blue stream of magic towards her, causing her to shift her focus. Good, Miyu followed his plan without being told, not that she was aware that there was one. Now for the second part. After almost meeting death, Issei didn't back down. No, the taunt had done its work to get him near the heroic spirit. After this, what he had to do was... Using his head, Issei softly headbutted the heroic spirit on her breast, which concentration was still on Miyu. Issei didn't stop there. He shook his head left and right once his head hit the quite big breast of the heroic spirit. This action made the battle stopped momentarily. Miyu was gaping at him in disbelief. The heroic spirit let out a moan that sounded like she was embarrassed. Now, Miyu, stab her with the sword. Once Issei's voice reached her ears, Miyu instantly jumped towards the heroic spirit and stabbed her. The groan of embarrassment turned into a shriek of pain as the body of the heroic spirit disintegrated in a purple fire, and in its place floated a single golden card. This is, Issei said as he grabbed the card. The class card, replied Sapphire. Upon closer look, the card was decorated with an image of a knight in a chariot and the word rider on its surface. This is the class card rider. Thank you for your hard work, Miyu-sama, Issei-sama. Yeah, that was some hard work, all right. He sighed as the two of them plus Sapphire sat down on the ground. Speaking of which, Sapphire, I don't suppose you can use the power of this card to fight other class cards manifestation? Issei asked the Kaleidostick. You can. How did you know, Issei-sama? Card Captor Sakura did it. Kamen Rider Blade did it. Almost all card-collecting anime series can use their card's power. Miyu didn't understand what Issei was saying. What's Card Captor Sakura? Kamen Rider Blade? Asked Miyu confused. Another television series we need to watch, Miyu. It seems that I need to educate you on some anime matters. To use this, you need to put the card on me and say include, Sapphire explained. Issy made a mental note about the include command. For now, all he wanted to do was rest. And unlike any rest he ever needed before, it was a rest he deserved rather than given. And that is the end of chapter 5. Okay guys, first of all, I'm really sorry this took almost 3 weeks, but I've been dealing with some certain stuff nonetheless. I apologize. Thanks to those who subscribed and liked the video, and if you could please drop a like. On this one, I don't think the next one is gonna take that long, and I'll start working on some other types of stories, maybe some DBZ or whatever you guys are interested. And if you have a suggestion, please drop it down in the comments down below. I do try to respond to the comments. Thanks for sticking until the end. Please like, subscribe, click the bell to never miss out. And with that, we are gone.